Hey, welcome in. Well, here's a headline. Yelp adds alerts for businesses accused of racism. Now, the word racism you can just substitute for witch, because that's all that is now. It is now just a weapon used to bludgeon you into agreeing with them about anything they say. The word has ceased to mean anything, because after all, we know now that literally everything is racism. Don't believe me? Well, let's take a look. The unbearable whiteness of milk, food oppression at the USDA. So milk is racist. Let's see. There's a whole section in here about nutritional racism. So that proves it. All right, what about Trader Joe's? Trader Joe's is racist too. Trader Joe's defends product labels criticized as racist. Do you like reading? Well, here, Lord of the Rings, slammed for perpetuating ism through depiction of orcs. So Lord of the Rings now, too. That's off limits. Let's see. Smithsonian Institution explains that rationality and hard work are ist. Which is, that is the most ist thing I've ever heard claiming that. That somehow rationality and hard work are the domain of only one group of people? That seems to be insane. But let's see, what else do we have? Oh, time itself. Time itself is ist. Here's a TED Talk. A TED Talk. The racial politics of time. Okay? So, I don't see how any restaurant isn't going to be part of this alert, because it seems like if you exist, you're an ist. Actually, that was pretty good. Maybe I have to trademark that. If you exist, you're an ist. Maybe that's the motto for the show. But anyway, as I say, everything is what they claim to be an ist. And these days, accused is as good as guilty, right? All it takes is an accusation to ruin your life. Anyway, what does CNN have to say about this? Businesses accused of overtly ist actions from customers may soon see a warning on their Yelp page. Who's going to decide all of this? I'm sure this is going to be responsibly done. The crowdsourced review platform said it will allow customers to flag ist behavior, and it will place an alert on an establishment's page when it, quote, gains public attention for reports of ist conduct, such as using ist language or symbols. A link to a news article explaining the business's problematic behavior will be included in the message. And what does that mean? So I don't know if you've been paying attention to the media lately, okay? But they're not exactly in the business of objective truth or just reality. Just going to interrupt for 1 second to say, if you like this content, subscribe so you can see more. Thanks a lot. And that's why this new cancel culture extremism is going to be so destructive. Like this is obviously coming from the left, if not the far left. And they feel that it's always safer to err on the side of destroying somebody's life or business, just in case. And even if we can't really prove it now, well, we could prove it later. As I say, I just think this is completely irresponsible. I mean, and what does this mean? Gains public attention. What does that mean? Just somebody's talking about it on their Twitter account? Or it says here, a link to a news article explaining the business's problematic behavior. So what's that? What's like some local blog? Or maybe just anyone with a blog could just make up a story and does that count as evidence? Like who's actually going to do the fact checking? Do you trust Yelp to do it? I mean, it is just ridiculously easy to see how easily this can be abused by anybody with a grudge or even just a competitor, just somebody just with pure bad intentions. It's just a ready-made gift to extortionists. This is madness. Unless we forget, I mean, this is going to impact mostly small businesses, like mom and pop places, people who've worked their whole lives, who've toiled their whole lives, poured all of their sweat and their labor into their restaurant or their cafe or whatever. And they could just see it all go up in smoke just because some lunatic who works for the local paper or who knows, it could just literally be a blog. Maybe they'll go off Twitter, just random Twitter accounts. Who knows? This is just an insane and totally unethical abuse. For what? And for what? To push some weird identitarian religion that happens to be popular with the employees at Yelp right now? Or is it just Virtue signaling? Is it just a cynical move? It's really impossible to see this from any positive light. And the one thing that it's guaranteed to not do is reduce racism. It's more likely to cause resentment. Anyway, it says here, Yelp says the new alerts will be verified because they will include links to news stories. Oh, great. Oh, they have to be true then. And says its policies ensure that reviews are based off personal experiences with the business. And here, surprisingly, at the end of the article, at the very end of it, well, it's not surprising that it's the very end. It's just surprising that they do this at all. But they say, however, it's unclear whether Yelp can prevent the alert from being manipulated. Oh, geez. Yeah, I wonder about that. I wonder about that myself. Since 2012, the app has halted reviews when there's evidence a page is being deluged with fake reviews, and that's never going to happen again. Last year, it temporarily disabled reviews on nearly 600 pages because of this activity. I wonder how many businesses went under during that time. This is just clearly a terrible idea, just made for abuse. Made for abuse. This was designed for abuse. This was designed to bully people, to extort people, to frighten people. Agree with us or else. And it's obviously so flawed that this can be abused just for any reason. And it's made easy because it's got the whole ist thing behind it. And I have to say, my hope for this is that this is a gigantic get woke, go broke. A gigantic one. Because this could ultimately hurt Yelp. Very, very get woke, go broke style. I mean, first off, just injecting identity politics and wokeness into a medium where no one except for some far left fringe actually wants it is a really bad idea. You know, the most woke institutions are seeing a big drop off in revenue, and it's not just because of the coof. But aside from that, also it will just completely destroy the credibility of Yelp. And it will be destroyed because of the inevitable abuse. And the authoritarianism itself is going to turn people off. Just that alone. I mean, I would never, if this actually goes through, I will never use Yelp. Not that I used it very much before anyway, but I would never use it again. I just think that some large part anyway, of its user base is not going to want Big Brother telling them where to have dinner. And there's one more thing too, which is that any company that's flagged with this thing might actually see an increase in business because the users might just assume that these are obviously fake allegations. And they don't really appreciate, as some tech company getting involved in morality policing. I guess in short, nobody's going to believe them anyway. And that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast Radio Baloney. It's on every platform just about, including Spotify. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.